Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about 8 reasons why drivers could potentially fail a road test. And we'll give you tips and strategies so that you can be successful on your road test first time. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about 8 reasons why drivers could potentially fail a road test. And these are fairly common sense about the reasons why drivers could potentially fail a road test. Now, just the first comment that I'm going to make here is the reason I put the traffic light up on the thumbnail is a couple of years ago I was training a driver with a Class 4 license, which is essentially an advanced car license. And unfortunately what had happened, the student followed a large vehicle into the intersection, couldn't clearly see the traffic lights. By the time that the big truck entered the intersection, the traffic light went to yellow. By the time she was in the intersection, the light went to red, and unfortunately she went contrary to a traffic light, an action contrary to a traffic light, and failed the road test automatically because entered an intersection on a yellow light. And then subsequently it turned red while she was in the intersection. So that's what happened. So that's one of the things that can cause you to fail a road test. So from the Philippines, Bibo is here. Jaden is here from Florida, and Edith is here as well. So if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning from in the world and what class of license that you're going for. And we'll help you out and we'll answer any questions that you might have. So we're just going to quickly head over to the PowerPoint presentation here. There we go, PowerPoint presentation, and we'll get that going here and we'll answer any questions that you have. Kingsley, I failed because I said I changed from 42 to 35 miles an hour. Well, if that's true, Kingsley, unfortunately 42 to 35, that's a lot of tolerance in your speed, and we'll talk a little bit about that further. GLaDOS is here, Jaspel is here. Bricks for Wheels, that's Corey. Corey is in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Corey is the moderator here and makes everything go well on the live streams much better. Yes, so nobody said that they can't hear me yet, so obviously the audio is working all right. Kingsley from Minnesota doing a Class D road test license. Yes, and Edith is there in Ontario. And again, if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from and what class of license you're going for, and we'll help you with that. And Kenneth is here. All right, so we're going to pop over to the PowerPoint presentation here, and we'll get going on this. There we go. Okay, so 8 reasons you fail, and unfortunately, if you do fail your road test, this is what you're going to be doing, sitting on the end of the dock with your head down, contemplating life and carrying on with your life and whatnot. First impressions. I always talk about first impressions when you show up for your road test because it is such a short duration. You want to make the best impression quickly. So before you go down for your road test, make sure you wash the car, you dress nice, you put an iron shirt on, clean t-shirt, those types of things. Do not have any t-shirts with any derogatory or profane statements on them, screw the government or whatnot. That is not going to look well for you going down and taking a test with one of the government authorities. First impressions, make sure you clean the car out. If you have garbage and those types of things in the footwells and the examiner can't get into the vehicle, that is not going to leave a good impression with the examiner. So clean the car out as well if you're going down with your own personal vehicle. If it's a driving school vehicle, obviously it's going to be clean and those types of things. But consider all of that in terms of first impressions. And imperative, make sure that you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle before you go down for your road test, especially if you're taking your own personal vehicle. If it's a driving school car, make sure that the instructor has done a pre-trip inspection on it as well. I just had a student last week said that he unfortunately could not take his road test. He was denied because he had a light out. And they found out when they did the mini pre-trip at the beginning of the road test, which every driving authority is going to do. They're going to do a mini pre-trip. They're going to check your lights and those types of things. So make sure that you do that before you go down so you're not denied your road test. You know that everything is working. The horn, the lights, the windshield wipers, seat belt on the passenger side, seat belt on your side, those types of things. Because if it's not working, you're going to be denied your road test, and it's not even a matter of you going to be failing. You're just not going to be able to take it. Oh, okay, bear with me just 1 second here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so where will your license take you? The Pass Your Road Test first time over at the Smart Drive Test website is on sale for 30% off. Use the coupon YouTube30 and that will get you the discount on the course because you don't want to be these people riding the bus here. You want to be these cool people here looking at the map and figuring out where you're going to go next on your great adventures. So Pass Your Road Test first time over at the Smart Drive Test website is the fastest route to getting you your license and taking you to work, taking you to school, and taking you on great trips with your friends. All right, I am Rick August, PhD. Most of the 1990s, I was a truck driver through Canada and the United States. 1997, I became a licensed driving instructor in an attempt to sort of come off the road because I was driving truck long haul. 2006, I graduated from the University of Melbourne with a PhD in legal history. For those of you who don't know, legal history is the study of policing, courts, and prisons, and my expertise is in policing, oddly enough, as it relates to traffic. And while I was going to university doing my graduate degree, I drove for Greyhound and a regional bus line there as well. So I have experience teaching truck driving, teaching bus driving, teaching cars, and teaching people with disabilities to return to driving. So teaching people to drive vehicles with hand controls. This week I got 2 videos up. Yay me! Yay! So the first one I got up was motivated by a live stream I did a couple of weeks ago about moving your head to observe while you're driving. So have a look at that video as well. Right turn right, and this is a couple of advanced defensive driving techniques that you need to put in place for right turns. And have a look at those videos, and they will help you out to both pass your road test and to keep you crash free while you're driving. Reason number 1 for failing a road test is you do not have good control of the primary controls, the steering wheel, the brake, and the throttle. And for those of you in other parts of the world driving manual transmissions, the clutch. And essentially doing the slow speed maneuvers in a parking lot with cones, learning how to use primary controls. You're also learning where the vehicle is in space and place. So if you're training and you're on the roadway and you are having difficulty changing lanes, you are having difficulty making turns, they're too wide, you can't keep your vehicle centered in the lane, go back to the parking lot, get some of those 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons, and do these exercises. This will smooth out your acceleration, it'll smooth out your braking, give you better sense of the steering wheel and where the vehicle is in space and place. So you have to have smooth control of all of the primary controls while you're doing your road test. Second reason, and this stems from the first reason, if you didn't do the work in the parking lot and didn't learn smooth operation of the primary controls, you didn't learn where your vehicle was in space and place, your turns are going to be too slow. You're going to be driving below the speed limit. You're going to be driving in parking lots too slow. You're going to be observing and taking too long to observe before you proceed on a turn and whatnot. So if you're too cautious, if you go too slow, that's as bad as speeding and going too fast. So there has to be the happy medium there where you're following the posted speed limit, you're doing turns at the correct speed, right and left turns and whatnot. And have a look at this playlist here, and Corey will put that up for you in terms of slow speed maneuvers, 3-point turns, learn to drive, reverse stall parking, parallel parking. And every now and again I get a smart driver on the channel who says to me that slow speed maneuvers are no longer part of a road test in the United States, mostly in the United States. Or they'll say, in my state you no longer have to parallel park, and that is simply not true. That is misinformation. And for those of you taking a road test anywhere in North America and other parts of the world, you can be almost guaranteed that you are going to be required to parallel park, reverse stall park, and do a 3-point turn at minimum. And then you're going to be required to do all of these other things as well, and those are up to the discretion of the examiner. So do the 3 basic ones at minimum. All right, observation, and this was what the video was about this week in terms of moving your head, shoulder checking, and you must shoulder check 2 times minimum for every turn or any lateral movement. So lane changes and those types of things. Looking far down the road, monitoring gauges, and looking out the rear window. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Have a look at the video I put up this week about moving your head, and this will show you the scanning patterns that you need to put in place, how to shoulder check, how to observe, how to do 360-degree scans when you reverse, and Corey will put that video up on reversing as well. Now, just as a note on the license test, 7/8 of the road test is in a forward motion, which means most of the road test is in a forward motion. Only about 1/8, a very small percentage of it, is reversing, curb parking, parallel parking, 3-point turns. However, it's those slow speed maneuvers that give drivers the most grief. So make sure that you're up to standard on those slow speed maneuvers, and know that if you spend the time on the slow speed maneuvers, it's going to improve your driving overall. So it's time well spent. Next one for failing a road test: doing an action contrary to a sign on the road test, and you fail to adjust speeds according to signs. So wherever you're taking your road test, there's going to be changing road speeds as you're driving along the roadways, or there's 2 lanes and 1 lane ends and you need to move over. Stop signs, you don't stop at the correct stopping position. School zone signs, if school is in session and you fail to reduce your speed according to whatever the speed limit is for that school zone sign, whether it's 20 miles an hour, whether it's 30 kilometers an hour, it will vary slightly across North America, so know that wherever, and go and practice in and around the area where you're going to be taking your road test and be able to pinpoint where the schools are. And road markings, and last week I had a smart driver give me a slip lane that didn't have any signs on it and said to me, well, how do we know what controls they are? Well, there were road markings. When I looked at it on Google, from the satellite imagery, there were arrows indicating there was a right slip lane. There was a solid white line said you can't cross the solid white line. There was a stop line before the pedestrian crosswalk, which was all clearly marked on the roadway. So pay attention to road markings as well as traffic signs and traffic lights. And then railway crossings, make sure you stop at the correct position before the stop line. Most railway crossings are going to have a stop line. If they don't have a stop line, you have to stop a minimum of 15 feet from the tracks, or 3 meters. Okay? You need to be proactive and predictable in what you're doing on the roadway. Social driving does play a part in terms of taking your road test, and you need to be proactive and you need to be predictable. Road signs will allow you to be able to do that if you're paying attention to them, gleaning the information from those road signs. The next one, number 5, the reason that you will fail a road test is that you strike a fixed object, turning, parking, or maneuvering. If you parallel park and you slam the wheel up over the curb, that's an automatic fail. If the body of the vehicle rocks on the chassis, the frame of the vehicle, or as Sam said from Rookie Auto Driving School there in the Bronx, if you knock the examiner out of the seat, it's a fail, okay? Slow speed maneuvers, parking, 3-point turns, and those types of things. If you strike a fixed object, you are going to fail. And if when you're reverse stall parking, you're backing into a parking space, it's better to stay out a little bit farther than it is risk hitting the concrete barrier behind you. At most of these licensing centers, they have a concrete barrier at the back of the parking space because many people back up too far and run into a railing or run into the building or whatnot. So they put a concrete barrier there. Do not run into the concrete barrier. Stop before it. It's better to get a couple of demerits for being out too far than it is backing up and failing your road test because you struck a fixed object, okay? So safely and successfully execute maneuvers. And again, this comes back to what I talked about in reason number 1, is that you don't have good control of the primary controls of the vehicle. You don't have a good idea of where your vehicle is in space and place, and this will cause you to potentially strike something on a road test. Reason number 6, dangerous action. You commit a dangerous action. You block an intersection. You come up and you stop at an intersection and you're too far forward, you're on the crosswalk or whatnot, and then you back up. That's an automatic fail in a road test. And even after you get your license, never, ever back up in an intersection. If you're too far forward, just stay there. Wait. Because it's an unpredictable action and you are going to be, you are presenting a danger to yourself and other drivers. If the examiner intervenes for whatever reason, the examiner thinks that it's dangerous, has to apply the brake, has to touch the steering wheel as soon as the examiner intervenes, then you will fail a road test. Insufficient gap when turning. If other vehicles have to take an action to avert striking you or give you more room or time, that's an automatic fail on a road test. So anything that is a dangerous action is going to cause you to fail your road test. Reason number 7, lane positioning. You move to the right after turning left. You fail to do that consistently. So you make a left-hand turn onto a multi-lane road and you fail to move to the right. If you do that consistently through the test, you're not going to be successful. Okay? Left to left, right to right. So if you're going to turn right, you're going to move to the right side of the lane, and you're going to turn into the right lane when you go around the corner. Left to left, same thing. When you turn left onto a multi-lane road, you're going to turn into the left lane, get the vehicle straight, get it under control, observe, and then you're going to merge over to the other lane. Merging, lane changes, moving. Anytime you move the vehicle laterally, you're going to communicate with other traffic. And if emergency vehicles appear, you're going to come to a stop completely, immediately, if you're not on a multi-lane road that's divided by a concrete barrier. I've had numerous students who, during training, have failed to stop for emergency vehicles. It's always good when it happens during training because then they know, and when they go for the road test, they know that if emergency vehicles show up, that they have to come to a stop right away. And most of the places in North America now have the move over laws. If there's emergency vehicles or tow trucks or those types of things on the side of the roadway, you as well have to move over and whatnot. Okay? Reason number 8, and one of the most difficult maneuvers to learn for new drivers, is turning left, particularly at complex intersections. So you have to position your vehicle at the correct position. And many students have difficulty with this. There are some examiners and some instructors who believe that you need to move right into the intersection. And every now and again, I get a student, unfortunately, who said that he or she failed because an examiner said they needed to move out into the intersection. I don't follow that school of thinking, and many other professionals don't follow that school of thinking either. When you stop at an intersection you're waiting to make your left-hand turn, you stop so the front steer tires of the vehicle are on the front crosswalk line. That way you're committed to the intersection, but you're not in the intersection. And then when the gap presents itself down the road, you're watching the traffic approaching, you start to move into the intersection. It's called meeting the gap. You move forward and you meet the gap, and then you've got a bit of speed going up as well, and you can clear the intersection more quickly because on left-hand turns, you can do 15 to 30 kilometers an hour, which is kind of 12 to 20 miles an hour on a left-hand turn, and that's going to help you out. As well, you don't want to block the intersection. If you're in the intersection and the light turns yellow, you have to wait for a gap to present itself and then clear the intersection, okay? Dangerous actions. If you go and oncoming traffic has to come to a stop or brake, then you're not going to be successful in your road test. So practice your left-hand turns at complex intersections in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your license. So that's 8 reasons that you potentially could fail a road test. And again, pass your road test first time on special, use the coupon code YouTube30, and that will help you to be successful on your road test, because where's your license going to take you? We all want to pass our license. We all want to go on road trips with our friends. We all want to get ourselves to work, and we don't want to be taking the goofy bus because the bus is a drag. All right. I missed my last slide. Where's my slide? Where'd my slide go? Oh, there it is. All right. So good luck on your road test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. There we are, and we're back, and we'll come over and answer any questions that you have. And Corey's put up those videos. Thank you so much for that, Corey. Awesome. Okay, Sarah. Hey, this is Sarah. Proud to say that I passed my driving test in my first try, and good tips is to take your driving school instructor. They will keep you calm and more. Yes, it's always good to go with your driving instructor because they're going to give you a pep talk before you go out for your road test. It's also easier when you get to the driving test center because the instructor knows where you need to go, which line you need to get in. They're going to check and make sure that you have all your documentation and those types of things. It just makes it a little bit easier when you're there. Vivian, hi there. Edith, what happened to your face? Is everything okay? Edith, yes, my face is good. This is jiu-jitsu. This is what this is from. So face is good, yes. Jaden, that's what I'm going to do, clean the inside of my car. Yes, AJ, if I had to do highway driving, I might have failed my road test. CDL, hit a curb. Kenneth, unfortunate. Okay. All right, there we go. So we're all caught up. Nguyen, I will take my test to get time to get a license. I want to start reading a handbook first. No, Nguyen, don't read a handbook. They're very boring, and they will only cure insomnia. Instead of reading the handbook, find some practice driving test questions on the internet here. There's some over at the Smart Drive Test website there, and use the test to identify the gaps in your knowledge. And then go back and just read through the parts of the handbook that you are weak with, and then go back and practice the driving test questions again. And once you're getting 80-90% consistently on the practice driving test questions, then you're ready to go down and do the test at the test center. Because let me tell you, The driving manuals are boring. Okay, they're written by bureaucrats. Bureaucrats don't have a sense of humor. They don't have a sense of style, and they're they're boring. Okay, don't read it. There you go. Corey, yeah, it's kind of bizarre. I got that same story once as well. An examiner failed someone because she didn't move up far enough into the intersection. Yes, and unfortunately I've had that happen, Corey, where instructors and examiners and students have told me that. But it's like I said, it's again front steer tires on the front crosswalk line. You're looking down the road. You're watching the traffic approach. When you see the gap, because you can see the gap coming. When the gap's coming, you want to move forward into the intersection, and then when you meet the gap, so you make your turn, and you've got a bit of speed going, and this is more important for those of you driving big pickup trucks, you driving RV units, you're driving buses or trucks, it becomes even more important to do that, because as you're moving forward, you're getting the vehicle going and getting a bit of momentum, so when you're crossing oncoming traffic, you're going to be there a less amount of time because you got a bit of speed picked up to go around on the left-hand turn. Okay? Green, do you have any CDL courses for Class 1 knowledge tests for BC? Yes, I do, Green, and I'll get those up for you today. Just send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com, and I'll get those up, and then that'll help you pass your road test there. So you're going for your learner's test. Is that Green? Is that what you're looking for? Is for your learner's test for your Class 1, or are you looking for more intense stuff like Class 1 theory course for going out and working in the world, like logbooks, weigh scales, those types of things? Because if it's just for the learner's test, then I can get those up for you fairly quickly. Okay. Nicholas, who has the right of way when you're turning right at an intersection uncontrolled or controlled and someone else is turning left in front of you? Okay, so basic rules of right of way, Nicholas, is straight through overturning and then right turning vehicles over left turning vehicles. Now, you said, okay, so controlled and uncontrolled. Now, it's a little bit different for two-way stop sign intersections as opposed to four-way stop sign intersections. Those are two different animals, okay? So two-way stop sign intersections, the main traffic, the traffic on the main road has the right of way, and just kind of pay attention to that. And then Corey will get the video for you up on the four-way stop signs, and that's a little bit different because it's the first person to arrive, person on the right, and then if those intersections get busy, those four-way stop sign intersections, if they get busy, then essentially what happens is you begin to take turns, like the two lanes of the cross traffic will take turns. So have a look at that video there, and that'll help you out with that as well. Okay, let's see what else we got. Syed, failed second time. My left turn on white was considered dangerous, but I thought the school bus was far enough. Okay, unfortunate. Okay, so from Philippines, now live in the USA. Bibo, I am still scared to drive here in South Carolina, but we have beautiful roads, so no problem at all. Excellent. Jaden, I was driving around, and also I drove on the interstate for the first time, but I do not like slow drivers, so I passed one today. Even I did not like traffic lights that change very fast. And yes, sometimes those traffic lights can kind of catch you out, Jaden, and you have to really kind of pay attention to what's going on with traffic lights. So you know, there's a number of cues to tell you whether the traffic light is going to change, or those types of things, right? If you have the flashing hand, or you have the counter, the timer that's counting down. Some of the newer traffic lights will have the counter that's counting down. And then if you have a long line of traffic on the cross street and there's no pedestrians in the crosswalk, that also means the light potentially could change. So as you get more experience and more driving under your belt, Jaden, you're going to know that the light's going to change and those types of things, and that will just help you out as you have more experience with driving, okay? Faith, hello my friend, recently got my permit, need to start getting behind the wheel, hopefully we'll start in an empty parking lot. Yes, and Faith, are you going to take some driving lessons with a local driving school, or are you working with a mentor or a family member or whatnot? Just let me know. Varun, hi Rick, I failed my G recently in Orangeville for failing to take my own right of way twice, according to the examiner who marked it as a dangerous action. I'm still not convinced. What say? Okay, and I've had students ask me this, Varun, about they disagree with what the students are saying or what the examiner's decision. Okay, so. And it's unfortunate because it's frustrating, it's embarrassing, you know, and you got to go back and you got to do it again. Now, what I recommend to you is don't even bother going after the examiner. Unfortunately, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, and oftentimes it doesn't bear fruit. I encourage you and I counsel you to put as much energy as you can into preparing for your next road test and making sure that you're successful on your next road test. And now the other thing for people who are not taking driving lessons, I counsel you to take a practice driving test with a local driving school. If you take a practice driving test with a local driving school, these are inexpensive. The driving instructor will give you feedback about your skills and abilities and let you know which ones need to be strengthened and need to be worked on in order for you to be successful on a road test. So do that before going down for your next road test. And some of these are quite inexpensive. I know for Sam at Rookie Auto Driving School there, it's only $25 for a practice driving test with a local driving school. So it's money well invested, okay? So do that. My mate Alex here, who's a general contractor, just said, hey there. So he's jumped on my live stream. So that's awesome. Hey Alex, you and Al out driving around in his big 1500 Dodge. There we go. So Corey's got the video up, the four-way stop video. Belinda's here. Hi there. Nicholas, link isn't working. Which link are you looking for there, Nicholas? The link for the four-way stop, is that the one you're looking for? And Belinda's from Toronto, China. I'm a driver in the Schulenberger company, working in Algeria. Your lessons are useful for me and help me a lot. That's awesome, China. I'm glad that we could help out. And if there's anything else you need help with, let us know and we'll definitely help you out with that. And okay, and faith wisdom. The other piece that I would encourage you, if you can get a mentor who can help you out, go and rent some of those 36-inch, 1 meter tall pylons and go out to the parking lot, and Corey will put the video up for you on Learn to Drive, and there's good exercises in there. Now, one of the exercises that I really like for new drivers, okay, you just need 2 pylons. It doesn't even have to be something you can get that will stand up. It could be a golf bag. That'll work for you. Put one at one end and one at the other end. You could put it probably 4 or 5 car lengths apart, and then you just drive forward and you do figure eights around the golf bags or around your pylons or whatever you got there in the parking lot. And once you get really comfortable with that, because that is going to teach you throttle control, it's going to teach you control of the brakes, it's going to teach you control of the steering wheel. So do those forward figure eights, and when you get good at that, then start doing reverse figure eights. And the reverse figure eights are really going to mess with your head a little bit when you're doing those, because even for me it's a bit of a challenge, and for experienced drivers it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But it will really teach you a high level of competency with the primary controls, where the vehicle is in space and place, and those types of things. And I encourage that for new drivers, especially reversing, because a lot of drivers, unfortunately, don't spend enough time trying to reverse the vehicle. The more you can reverse the vehicle, the better sense of you're going to have of where the vehicle is in space and place. And this is important when you're learning to drive, because as we know, there are big blind areas around the vehicle when you're sitting in the vehicle from the passenger, or in the driver's seat rather, that you can't see, especially the one out the passenger side of the vehicle, depending on which side of the road you are on in the world. But that one's about 15 feet, and the one out the back is about 25 or 30 feet, depending on what kind of vehicle you're driving. But there's big blind areas, and working on those slow speed maneuvers in parking lots, learning on doing those exercises, parallel parking, 2-point reverse turn, reverse stall parking, and whatnot, those are going to teach you where your vehicle is in space and place. And that's a fundamental skill for being able to drive well. If you can know where your vehicle is in space and place, that's going to help you be successful in passing your road test first time. All right. Ounce, your videos helped me pass my driver's test. Thank you so much. I recommend you to my sister, and she passed her learners. Good man, respect. Thank you so much, Ounce. That is really awesome. And as well, if you could head over to the Smart Drive Test website there and sign up for the 100K campaign, where you can enter the draw for the $100 fuel card and be one of the contestants and get your fuel card there. And last week we did the draw again because unfortunately the first person who won the draw didn't get back to me. But Valeria from Toronto there, she won the $100 fuel card, so we're going to get that sent out to her tomorrow and get her some free fuel for her vehicle when she's driving around. Singh, I failed my class 1 because of left turn reasons. When I took a left turn, one car in front of me and I entered the truck into the intersection. Yes, and that's very unfortunate, Singh. But you know, it's not the end of the world. You can do it again, and you're going to be successful the next time. You're going to know that you can't enter the intersection when the light goes to yellow, and that's a tough one. And it takes a lot of practice, especially when you're moving from a car to a big truck, because there's just not enough time and training to get all of those nuances with a very large vehicle, especially a class 1 tractor trailer unit. It takes a few months to kind of get used to that and know when you can go and when you can't go and those types of things. So you know, I know it's tough, and I know it kind of, you know, damages our pride a little bit, but know that you can get a bit more practice, know that you can go back, and you're going to be successful on getting your road test. Now, just another note on road test. One of the things that I said during the presentation there was, if the examiner intervenes, or if the driving instructor, if your driving instructor is there and your driving instructor intervenes on a road test, that's an automatic fail in a road test. And I'll tell you a story, and some of you may have heard this story before. I took one of the students down for a road test, and it was a class 1 road test, and it was a difficult backup. You know, backing up a tractor trailer unit can be intimidating at the best of times. But this test center, students were required to parallel park the unit, which is a very advanced skill for truck drivers. Anyway, the student was backing up, and it was against a large concrete wall. And when the student was backing up, I knew that the student he had it cut too much. The tractor was out of line with the trailer, and I knew that there was a good chance that he was going to hit the wall. So I ran across the parking lot, and I waved my arms, and I waved because the examiner wasn't doing anything. And next thing I know, the truck stops, the brakes come on, the examiner climbs out of the cab and just beelines it straight into the office. And I was like, well, what happened? Because the examiner didn't talk to me or say anything to me. And then I realized later when I sent the student in, because we were both kind of bewildered, we were kind of left there bewildered about what was going on or what had happened, was we learned later that because I had intervened in the test, that the student was unsuccessful in the road test. The student had failed, unfortunately. So if either the examiner or your driving instructor intervenes on the road test, unfortunately, you're not going to be successful. All right. Belinda, what are tips taking a G license? Looking forward to my G. I'm a 5-month-old driver. Okay, excellent. Same thing, Belinda, with any test. Excuse me here, just a moment. 4 basic components of road tests, regardless of where you are in the world, what class of license you're taking. It's same 4 components: space management, speed management, observation, and communication. So space management, stopping at the correct position at stop sign intersections, at intersections, whether they're controlled or uncontrolled. Following distance, 3 to 5 seconds following distance, stopping in traffic so that you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. 3 feet side to side, good awareness of where your vehicle is in space and place. 1 lane of traffic, or one roadway lane between you and pedestrians. So if you're turning right, for example, and there's pedestrians waiting on the curb to cross the roadway, you have to wait for them to get to the center of the roadway. And so you need 1 lane buffer of space between you and pedestrians. Okay, so that's space management. Speed management, posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less, and you need to manage speed so that you have good space management as well. So that's how you manage space. Communication, you need to communicate effectively with other traffic. So we communicate, there's 5 ways that we communicate with other traffic: lights and horns, Hand gestures, make sure you use all 5 fingers. Don't tell them to remember one on a road test. You won't be successful. Eye contact. I'm missing one. Eye contact. Hand gestures, eye contact, lights, horn. That's it. And then finally, the position of your vehicle on the roadway will indicate what you're doing and communicating to other road users. And then finally, observation, your ability to observe. Okay, so far down the road, look at your instrument panel. Far down the road, both sides, both out to the outer edges of both of the road. Check your center mirror. Down the road, and then in and check both your wing mirrors. So that's your sort of 8 to 10 second scanning pattern. Anytime you're making lane changes or making turns, 2 shoulder checks, 1 a half a block approximately before the turn, and then 1 immediately before the turn. If you're sitting at the intersection for a while, you might need to make another one. And then finally, when you're reversing, 360-degree scan around the vehicle, and then for every vehicle length that you back up, you're going to stop, do another 360-degree scan, and then continue to back up. That's what you need to do for the purposes of any road test, regardless of class, regardless of where you are in the world. Space management, speed management, observation, and communication are the 4 components of a road test that you need to demonstrate to the examiner. So, coming back to that, what you need to do for the purposes of a road test and passing your G license, you need to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. And then all you have to do is take away the examiner's right to fail you. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what you need to do. Okay. Ishak, I just passed my course as a driver education instructor. I will continue to pick up on the great tips from your teaching to help my students. That is awesome. Congratulations on getting your instructor's license. And if there's anything we can do, Ishak, to help you out with your teaching and helping your students and helping you to become a better instructor, by all means, drop us a note. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Okay? China, Smart Drive is the best system to help you drive well exceptionally. The 5 rules: search the horizon, maintain space and visibility, always move eyes, recognize and respond, and take control and be seen. And yes, those are good rules. China, where did those originate from? Because I'm not aware of those. I haven't seen those before. Where did you get those from? Because those are quite good. Okay, Green, I'm going for Class 1 knowledge test. Did your air brake course and it was really helpful. Oh, excellent. I'm glad we could help out, Green. Yeah, so knowledge test will definitely help you out with that. Okay, Faith, would you consider taking a video about the apps you like to use during heavy, slow traffic, audiobooks, podcasts, and more? Yes, we could definitely do that for you, Faith. That would be great. Okay, Sing, who has the right of way if a truck in a yield or slip road for right turn and a truck or car in the intersection for left turn when the light is green, traffic is clear? Okay, so Sing, are the left turning vehicles turning on an advanced green? Because, excuse me, if the vehicles are turning on an advanced green, then the left turning vehicles have the right of way, and the right turning vehicles need to give way to the left turning traffic. Now, what you want to do is you want to have a look at turning right at complex intersections, and that will give you further information and tips and strategies on how to do that safely when you're coming up on a slip lane and you're making the right hand turn. And who needs to give the right of way. Oftentimes at complex intersections, when there's a right hand slip lane there's often going to be a yield sign or a give way sign there. It's the same thing as when you're entering a roundabout. You need to give way and give the right of way to people already in the intersection. So, and as well, if there's an advanced left turn lane, those vehicles that are turning left are going to be the ones that have the right of way. So just take note of that as you're approaching the intersection to know that. All right. And if you're watching here on the replay, again, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what class of license you're going for. Let us know if there's anything we can help you with. And we'll definitely help you out. Okay. Oh, China, that's awesome. You got that information from your company that you're working for. No, those are really good. That's really good information. Okay. And what I'll do, China, is I'll come back to that after the live feed and I'll have a look at it and I'll suss it out a little bit more because I hadn't seen it kind of written that way before, but I think that's really good. Okay. So road test, failing a road test, and as well, I'll just talk briefly here about if you are unfortunate and not successful on your road test, some of the things that are going to happen. What I would suggest to you is that if you are unsuccessful on your road test, take the rest of the day and just be mad at the world, because we need a bit of time to kind of recoup and to regain our confidence. As well, it comes back to that saying in life: don't let somebody else's opinion of you become your reality, all right? You have to understand that it's just the driving examiner's opinion of your driving. It's not a reflection of who you are as a person, okay? It's a reflection of your driving, and maybe your driving just needs a bit more work, right? It's the same thing as somebody asked me about what happened to my face, right? I go to jiu-jitsu and I'm not good at jiu-jitsu. I'm a white belt, right? But you got to keep going back. You got to keep training. You got to keep doing the work. So if you're unsuccessful in your road test, take a day, be down, be mad at the world. Oh, the world's unfair. Eat Doritos, eat whatever you eat when, or do whatever you do to get over that. Take maybe a day, half a day, but then get back on it. Start training again, start working again, and do the work that you need to do to be successful. Learn from your mistakes, right? Because oftentimes in life, we're going to be unsuccessful a lot more times than we're going to be successful. And when we're unsuccessful, it doesn't mean, it's not a reflection of who you are as a person. It's simply a reflection of your ability. And we simply learn from the mistakes that we made that, prevented us from being successful. We correct those mistakes, and then we move forward and we become successful. That's how you get on with having a road test. And I know it's a big shot to your ego, your pride, your need to be successful, but we can't all be successful first time. That's just not the way we are, especially when it comes to road tests, because learning to drive a vehicle, any vehicle, whether it's a car, whether it's a truck, whether it's a bus or motorcycle or whatever vehicle that you're learning how to drive, there's so much stuff going on, and biologically we're not really designed to drive vehicles at high speeds. So that's another limitation that we have. As well, you're learning physical ability. So there's kinesthetic memory, there's muscle memory on how to move steering wheels, how to push down on the throttle, and those types of things. So there's that, there's all the road rules, there's social driving, there's being predictable. There's so much stuff going on that if you're not successful, it's simply not a reflection of who you are as a person. It just means that you need a bit more practice. So know that if you're not successful on your road test, that you can move forward, get a bit more skill. Maybe you might need to reassess. You might need to take some driving lessons with a driving examiner to help you out and whatnot. But you can do it. You can move forward, and you can be successful. And again, if you've been unsuccessful, leave us a comment. We'll help you out. We'll do what we can to make sure that you're successful on your road test. And again, if you're watching on the replay and you're working towards a license, ask us any questions that you have. Leave us a comment, share around on social media, and all of that helps new drivers to learn how to drive, okay? Marone, you're most welcome. We're glad we could help out. Sing, no advanced green, only green. Okay, so if it's only green, again, as I said, on the slip lane, there's usually a yield sign for the right turning vehicles. The danger that you have is that oftentimes when people make left-hand turns on multi-lane roads is that they're not going to go left to left. I mean, that's just part of social driving. They're going to make the left and then they're going to drift right into the right-hand lane. So you need to be careful when you're making the right that you move into the spaces between the vehicles, not in beside another vehicle, because if you move in beside another vehicle, you risk a collision. And have a look at the video I put up on right turn right on Saturday. That's what happened. I was making a right-hand turn out of a parking lot, and the car was kind of in between the two lanes. There was just enough room for me to squeeze in beside the vehicle, but I was like, no, I better not do that. And sure enough, when the vehicle left and went across the roadway, the driver moved out to the right, did what's called a button hook. And had I been there, I would have had a fender bender. I would have had a collision. And, many people say, oh, it's just a fender bender and the other person's at fault. Not so much. And you've got all that time and energy to fix your vehicle, to deal with the other person, to go to body shops and those. It's just not a pain. Stay back for a couple of seconds, wait for the other vehicle to proceed, and then you can proceed and, carry on with your day. Joan, is that okay to practice once a week or twice a week to get used to my driving? My exam is on June 11th. Joan, I suggest to you to do as much driving as you can between now and the 11th of June. And actually, that's only 3 weeks away, Joan, rather, I'm sorry. I suggest to you, if you can drive every day, you are going to be much, much better prepared for your road test on June 11th. And I would really encourage you, Corey's put the video up, just scroll back through the comments here for the video on, excuse me, learn to drive, and do the exercises in there. Go to a parking lot, focus on your slow speed maneuvers, and all of that is going to help you out and help you to be better prepared for your road test. And you still have time, Joan. The other thing I would counsel you to do is to get on the phone to a local driving school and book a practice driving test with one of the driving instructors, because they'll take you out sort of 7 to 10 days before your road test. They'll do a practice driving test with you, and they'll give you feedback on your skills and abilities, and they'll tell you what needs to be strengthened or what you need a bit more practice on to be ready for your road test as well. Okay, so no, once or twice a week is not going to cut it for you to be really good, really comfortable with the vehicle for the purposes of your road test. If you can drive every day, I would really encourage you to do that. Varun, I would love to see you as the CEO of Smart Drive Test Ontario. Well, Varun, I don't know whether you know this or not, but it is my company, and we're working towards that. We're working on branching out, and we're well on our way here. We've been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. So the 100,000 subscribers here is up on the wall, and I'm really, I've been working on actually doing a copywriting course to sell more of my courses, and I'm trying to scale up the business. And the more I can scale up the business, the more I can sell my online courses, the more I can help smart drivers to be successful on road tests, regardless of class, regardless of where they are in the world or how old they are. That's what we're trying to do. So if we can do all of that, then that's going to help you out, and it's going to help me out, and I can hire other people to do some of the work that I don't need to be doing, like doing closed captions on videos and not like that. So I'd like to do all of that. All right, Amanda, I drove every day for a few months before I took my test, and excellent. And Amanda, I'm supposing, I'm going out on a limb here, that you were successful on your road test. Were you? Just let us know here. Okay. Mora, someone tell me that driving around doesn't help. Is that true? Mora, no, that's not true. Amanda, yes, you need as much practice as possible. Vivian, I practiced a whole lot too. Yes. Mora, more of what will really improve your driving overall. Yes, you do need to drive around, and you do need to drive in a forward motion. But if you can focus on your slow speed maneuvers, if you can do the exercises in Learn to Drive, that's going to improve your overall driving and make you a better driver overall. So with that, slow speed maneuvers, the exercises in the parking lot with the pylons, that will improve your overall driving, and it will augment your driving forward, because you got to be able to drive forward. You got to be able to do your shoulder checks and your observations and all of those other skills and strategies that you need to put in place to be able to drive forward well. Okay, China, Charlotte, thanks for the information. You're most welcome. China Smart Drive Test Mission 1. I will not crash, and I will not be a victim. Yes, there you go. Excellent. Varun. There we go. Varun. Yeah, Smart Drive Test Centers that conduct road tests. Varun, that would be quite an achievement if I can get that done. Yes, for sure. If I can take over all the testing for all the test centers. I think it would be a bit different system than it is now, that's for sure. Davin, the best thing is to go to the driving test area to drive as many as you can before the test day. And yes, Davin, excellent piece of information there for drivers who are preparing for a road test. And after hours, so go after the driving test center is closed, go on weekends and those types of things. You can't go in and test and work at the driving test center when they're in operation, okay? So there's just too much going on there. So go after hours, go on the weekend, and definitely practice in and around the test center. Practice in their parking lot doing the reverse stall parking and whatever other maneuvers they have that you need to do there. If they have a closed circuit area, an area where they do their parallel parking and whatnot, because some test centers do have that. And so that's excellent what Davin said there as well. Lizbeth, I just realized that I'm still subscribed to your channel. I just wanted to let you know that your videos helped me in passing my road test a year and a half ago. That's excellent, Lizbeth. That's really awesome. We're so happy to hear that that all worked out for you. And how has the driving been going in the last year and a half, Lizbeth? Has it been crash free? Have you had any close calls or those types of things? Okay, excellent. Prebla, I love your videos, Rick. Thank you so much. I am booking classes with a driving school to get more comfortable and improve my driving before my road test. Awesome. Javier, hey Rick, could you upload videos of different techniques to park backing up? Thanks. Yes, Javier, Corey will put up the videos for the slow speed maneuvers. That's the parking, sorry, not the slow speed maneuvers video, rather the parking smart videos. And that's the whole playlist of all of the different maneuvers for parking, curb parking, reverse stall parking, and parallel parking and whatnot. So that'll give you all of that information. Okay, Amanda. Yes, passed the first time, and I really believe watching your videos definitely helped me to pass. Excellent. Yes, because one of the other pieces about passing a road test first time, taking the course over at the Smart Drive Test website, which is 30% off right now, off the $37.95. Use the coupon YouTube30. Taking a road test and being successful on a road test has become more complicated because of the GLP programs, or the GDL programs as it's called in some places. Graduated driver's license, or the graduated licensing program, depending on where you are in the world. It's going to have a different name. But there's more emphasis on skills and strategies and being able to drive smoothly, know where the vehicle is in space and place, and what skills that you have to have as a driver to be successful on that road test. So these have become more complicated. And what we're trying to do here is that if you don't take driver education and you just go down and think you can do your road test because you drive on the farm or whatnot, you are 1 in 2 chances of not being successful on your road test. So there's 50% chance that you're going to fail your road test. Whereas people who take driver education, people who work here on the Smart Drive Test YouTube channel with the videos or take my courses, 97% success rate. You have a very, very, very high chance of passing your road test first time, because we give you all of the skills, strategies, and abilities that you must have to be successful on your road test. So know that. And I do encourage you to take the course, because it outlines in a 6-week course what you should be doing every week, what you should be preparing for, and will lead you up to a road test, and it guarantees that you will pass. If you don't pass your road test within 90 days, we'll give you your money back. No questions asked, okay? So the course is guaranteed as well. All right. Elizabeth, yes, thankfully I've been crash-free, but there have been some incidents where I'm almost being hit. But, Elizabeth, you've learned from those, and hopefully you've learned from those. I suspect you have, because you've been crash-free, and you've learned to manage space around your vehicle better so that you're not near other vehicles and you're less likely to be involved in those close call situations. So, no, that's really excellent. I'm so glad to hear that, Elizabeth, that you've been crash-free. Only a few learning experiences along the way. We all have them, okay? Joan, question again, Rick. When turning left or right, do I need to brake or just go with the momentum, and how can I build my confidence in driving? I failed my first try and went to driving schools too. Okay, so again, one of the things, Joan, that I would really strongly encourage you to do is focus on the slow speed maneuvers, focus on the exercises in the Learn to Drive video, and get really good at backing up the vehicle. If you can do all of that, it's going to improve your overall driving and help you to prepare for your road test. And then book your road test, and then 7 to 10 days before your road test, go to a local driving school, take a practice driving test, and that will give you feedback on your preparedness for the road test. And if the driving examiner thinks that you're not going to be successful for whatever reason, that you didn't practice enough or whatnot, then postpone your road test, right? And then just do some more work to be ready for the road test. Okay, that's what I suggest. Okay, Davin, I always get nervous before the testing date. And yes, that's completely normal, Davin. And it's just a matter, if you do enough practice, that's going to compensate for the nerves and anxiety that you're going to feel on test day, because we all get nervous. I tell you, I go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I know I'm going to get taken down by all these senior people who are better than I am, because they've been there longer, they practice longer, and it scares me and I have anxiety about it. But I still go and I still train, because that's how I get better, and that's how you're going to get better, and that's how you're going to be successful on your road test too. So train and do that. Varun, can I use my own vehicle for my G test? Are there any special requirements that I need to fulfill before presenting my own vehicle for that test? No, you can definitely take your own vehicle. The only thing that I counsel you on, Varun, is do a pre-trip inspection and make sure everything's working before you go down for your road test. And Corey will put the video up for you on the pre-trip inspection that you need to do on your own vehicle. But just make sure everything's working, it's clean, the seatbelt works on the passenger side, you know, lights, horns, those types of things. All right. Javier, I didn't go to a driving school, but I did drive almost every day for 6 months, and I perfectly nailed my road test first time. Is experience and the fact that you feel comfortable that you help. Yes, excellent. That's awesome. Joan, thank you. You're most welcome. And there's pass your road test first time. And again, use the coupon YouTube30. And we're getting near the end here. And you can do the road test. I know there's a lot going on in terms of a road test because you're in traffic situations and those types of things. But the more experience you have, the more driving time, the more seat time that you have, the more prepared you are, because driving is kind of an interesting animal in terms of things that you're preparing for in your life. It's not like preparing for a test, you know, in school where there's a set body of knowledge and you have to understand that and be able to regurgitate it back and do some analysis and those types of things. Driving is changing all of the time, and you have to make decisions on the fly oftentimes. You have to make a decision. Am I going to go or am I going to stop? And the more you are exposed to these different traffic situations, the more time you have in the seat, the better prepared you are to make the right decision when you're preparing for your road test and when you're actually on your road test. So know that, okay? Marcos, I failed my test the first time because I got nervous at a middle intersection. I stopped. Now I learned that all I have to do is proceed. I'm already inside the intersection. Yes, excellent, Marcos. So you learned something on that you weren't successful. You learned from that, and now you can move forward. Awesome. Varun, thank you. Rick, you're awesome. Thank you, Varun. You're awesome too. You're a smart driver and doing well and moving forward. Okay, Marcos, to take my second test on the 29th, and I've been practicing. That's excellent. Gil, good night. Thank you for that. And congratulations again for your work. Thank you so much, Gil. All the best, and I appreciate that. Marcus, how long does it take to typically schedule a road test? If I go to my local DPS, what do I need to bring with me to schedule a road test, and how long does it typically take? It depends where you are, Marcus. In North America, some places can take a little bit longer than other places, but 3 to 6 weeks, depending on, as I said, where you are in the world. Most of the time, if you're just booking a road test, you can just do that on over the phone, or you can sometimes some places you can do it online too. When you do show up for your road test, make sure that you bring money, you bring your learner's license, and you bring a secondary piece of ID with you, another government-issued picture ID license, and that'll allow you to take your road test. Okay. Epic, I failed my third and second road test committing a rolling stop and about to hit an orange cone after a K-turn on the third attempt. Have tips to avoid these auto fails. Got nervous during the test. Yes, and it's just a matter, Epic, of practice, and you're going to be less nervous. Wireless, thanks for your videos. They truly did contribute to my success in my road test. And excellent. We're so happy we could help out there. Okay, and there's the pre-trip inspection video, and we're just going to wrap up here. So again, pass your road test first time. Where's your license going to take you? Most direct route for passing your road test, and it's a course that is completely guaranteed. So head over to the Smart Drive Test website and sign up for that as well. You can ask me any questions you want for the course when you're enrolled in the course, and I'll be more than happy to help you with all of that. So if you had a road test in the last couple of weeks and you've been successful, and for all of you here on the live stream or those that are tuning in on the replay, if you've been successful this year, head over to the Smart Drive Test website, sign up for the 100K campaign, and enter the draw for the $100 fuel card. And congratulations to Valeria there in Toronto. She won the $100 fuel card in April, and we're going to catch up here for the rest of the year. So we're going to do the other months as well, and then in a couple of weeks, we'll do the draw for May for the $100 fuel card. And I'm really considering strongly, if I get more people signing up for it, that I'm going to raise the amount of money, because as I said, $100 for, if people are driving bigger vehicles, that's not even a tank of fuel. So that's not really a great price. We want to get you a couple tanks of fuel anyway. So we're really considering that. So sign up for that as well. Okay, Vivian, thank you for the wonderful videos. I will pass this along to others who are going for their tests. Awesome job. Thank you so much, Vivian. That's really awesome. China, thank you, Rick. You're awesome. Lots of respect to you. Thank you so much, China, and all the best there with your job, with your company and whatnot. So, okay, and if you got a road test coming up in the next couple of weeks, all the best on that. Good luck, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.